Hello, everyone. Uh, Today's investment podcast is going to be dedicated to how to break into investment banking or what are the best practices of joining that complex industry. Uh, just as reference, my name is Cesar Cordova. I am currently an equity research analyst at Titan Capital Management. I previously interned at Marshberry, which is a middle market investment banking firm in Dana Point that focuses on sell side and buy side advisory services for private insurance and wealth management companies. And I will be interning next year at Wells Fargo within the M&A team.
Cool. My name is Marwan Jassam. I'm an investment real estate agent. My focus on acquiring investment properties for my clients that are operating throughout SoCal. And I'm also an equity analyst here at TCM.
Hey guys, my name is Atul Vinod. So previously, I worked as a data engineer at TCS. I developed dashboards and developed ETL tools on cloud platforms. So for the management team and analyze data to improve sales. And there I also manage data integration and automation process. And currently, I'm an investment analyst at TCM. I conducted market research and economic analysis. So in summary, I have a strong background in financial analysis and managing data in cloud environments.
That's great. Great. So I guess the first picture, what exactly is investment banking or what do they do? They are a financial services industry. They work as intermediaries for companies for M&A purposes or when a company wants to do IPO. For the ones that don't know, IPO is an initial public offering when a company wants to go from private to a public company, along with pretty much other services they provide. Um, Honestly, some of the reasons that people want to break into this industry is because it's highly profitable. That's given. Some of these analysts start earning from $110,000 a year, and not including bonuses, which can range from 20% of their overall income to 100% as well. Um, but yes, as far as preparation, I would say first things first, building a good resume that is specific and targeted to the industry itself. And I mean this by perhaps every single bullet point you have in your resume can, you know, pretty much exercise or demonstrate what skills you've earned over time in order to be successful in the industry to become more attractive. And perhaps keeping a high GPA is also extremely important. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, so the resume part. Let's talk about application tracking system. So I don't know whether you guys are familiar with it. So it's like a robot, like an invisible gatekeeper between you and the technical recruiter. So first we have to make sure our resume gets noticed. So we gotta tailor it specifically to the job we are applying for. We gotta pull out the keywords from the job description and sprinkle them throughout the resume. So that's a given. We need it to reach the technical recruiter first. So once it gets noticed, for that we need to give a clean and simple format, no fancy fonts or graphics, and we gotta highlight our accomplishments with specifics. Not just say worked on something, like instead we can say like reduce query time by 30 percentage, like quantify the impact. And we gotta use action verbs like developed, led, or streamlined to showcase your contributions. So if you're unsure about how it is friendly your resume is, you gotta use tools like Resume Worded. So it's online, free, available, so you can get to understand how much your resume stands out compared to your peers.
Got it. I mean, I've heard some like pros and cons of investment banking. Obviously, the first pro is it's a high earning potential job. It's prestigious. People like it for the status that they can get. Many people do it so they can break into other positions, such as positions in private equity or in hedge funds. Some people enjoy the challenging and the dynamic work environment they're in, the learning opportunities, the networking. It's just like a lot of pros that come with it. But I think something that's kind of overlooked is also the cons that come with investment banking, such as, the long hours. They're usually, like 80, 100-hour weeks. As soon as you're getting started, obviously, you're working these long hours. You want to prove yourself that, you deserve to be there. You're worthy of it. It's a very high stress type of job, a lot of high stress levels that you get into. You're working probably 7 days a week. The work-life balance is very limited. You're constantly at work. It's all you think about. And it's a lot of repetitive work for the junior bankers. So I don't think people should, you know, overlook the cons that come with investment banking, but they should be aware of, what they are getting into and not just focus on, the salary or the position they're going to get. So I think people should also consider the cons that come with it, and that should be a decision factor of whether it's something that you want to pursue or not. I don't
Honestly,
know if you
that's a
guys.
great point you bring, Marwan. I've talked to multiple bankers prior to getting my internships, and some of them are completely transparent when I have the conversations with them. They say, honestly, it is extremely profitable, you know what I mean? But I cannot wait until I, disappear from investment banking forever and break into a completely different role where I can have a work-life balance finally. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Yes, but
How
interesting.
long how long do you think they stay doing that before they get to break into a different type of job?
That's a good question. I would say it usually ranges from pe person to person, but on average, I've seen people just either work in investment banking for 2 years in order to break into private equity as an associate, or they just get tired of it after these 2 years and go to corporate finance or a completely different industry. You know what I mean? So they can just stay away from these heavy hours because
Hmm.
they for the most part find it not worth it earning six figures if they are not going to be able to enjoy the money they're making. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So it changes. I've also met people that are extremely passionate about the industry that, pretty much want to die as investment bankers. You know what I mean? Which
that's
is
wild.
rare, but
Yeah.
not everyone is the same. You know what I mean? Not we don't really enjoy the same things in life. So but yeah, so among of the best practices to break into investment banking, I would say what served me the most was networking. So paying for your LinkedIn premium, you know what I mean? So you can easily message people through, LinkedIn and just keep a spreadsheet with these people that you have networked with, you know what I mean? And like a Word document on the side regarding every single questions you ask this person, what was memorable from them, you know what I mean? And in the future, if you develop long-term relationships with these people, they can perhaps give you a referral, which served me
Mm.
in the past. So but yeah, what do you guys think about networking and in general?
To be honest with you, I never really looked into investment banking, so I'm not really that heavy on networking. I don't know if Atul has anything to say on that.
Networking side, like I think if you send out a lot of cold mails, most of them go unanswered. So we gotta approach it with like ask for their time. There needs to be an approach which needs to be taken. So maybe Caesar, do you have any comments on that instead of directly just sending it out across like multiple people?
I mean, everyone
Certainly.
everyone talks about like networking, but like,
Yeah.
how do you actually network? Like, do you tell them, hey, I'm looking for a job, or is it like a genuine conversation where you're actually trying to be like friends or mates with them, like, or is it
Yeah.
just like, hey, I'm looking for a handout, can you help me out?
I would say something like I came across your LinkedIn profile, and I was surprised with your the career journey you have over the years. You know what I mean? I am planning on entering a JP Morgan in the near future. You know what I mean? I was wondering if perhaps you could donate me some minutes of your time to have a quick chat so I can learn about you a little more and get some
Okay.
insights into how to break into JP Morgan and chasing the future.
But
So.
like someone like me, where I'm in such a high position, I got status, right? I'm working long
Mhm,
hours. I'm probably getting hit up a dozen times by people just like you. So
mhm.
why would I respond to you and not respond to anyone else?
That's an excellent question. And the easy
Yeah.
answer for that is because they were people that also received help from others. As you know, networking is extremely important in investment banking, especially when you come from a non-target university, I would say. You know what I mean? So I would try to reach out to people that, number one, come from non-target universities, and honestly, as much people as I can, because the truth is that, yeah, some people are going to completely ignore me because they're super busy, but some others are going to resonate with me and are going to be like, hey, I received help in the past. Why wouldn't I help someone that, has some similarities as far as background as me? You know what I mean?
Mm,
In my case, I have two internships in investment banking that were paid. One that passed this summer and one that's coming up next year in North Carolina. Okay.
mm,
I received so much help from so many people, including some of the students at TCM, Mateo, Aaron, Ryan, you know what I mean? And external, people that have nothing to do with me as well, you know.
Mm,
And after receiving this help, I had a better understanding of, like what do I need to focus on, prior to joining this, really complex career path. And when I receive lots of emails through LinkedIn or messages, whatever, I resonate with what I, you know, received as far as assistance previously, and I try to help as much people as I can, because it feels good, you know.
mm.
You understand the struggle.
Uh,
So I'm pretty sure that answers the question, you know what I mean? When you know what struggle is, you want to be able to help others, because you can understand how that feels, pretty
okay.
much.
Now, obviously for someone like me, I never really looked into investment banking. One of the reasons why I never really was interested in it was just because of the long hours and the fact that people who I know that are investment banking, they hate their jobs, but they're in it for the pay. I'm a commission-based guy. I like getting paid commission. I like, having my own, working my own hours, setting my own schedule. I don't like have a boss. But in terms of the hours that are being worked, and obviously you guys are, in the office all the time, with this shift in people starting to work from home, where a ton of jobs that people used to go to the office all the time, now it's like hybrid. Do you think that's going to be a trend that's going to get into investment banking, or people are going to start working from home? Or do you think it's always going to be like an in-office job where you work in these crazy hours per week?
That's a good question. I would say it varies from company to company. Some companies and some specific groups within companies have different cultures. And what do I mean? Because honestly, it's really complex overall. Because within a company, within an investment banking company, there are coverage and product groups. Coverage groups cover industries. Product groups cover specific tasks like mergers and acquisitions, leverage finance, pretty much other things of that nature. So within those groups, there are different team members, and people pretty much perceive the work environment completely different. So there's a different culture in every single one of these groups. Personally, I'm joining the M&A team at Wells Fargo in North Carolina. And
Hmm.
but I also network with people from other teams to see other options as well. And for example, there was this uh, coverage group called CNR, Consumers and Retails, where one of the associates told me that Thursdays and Fridays he works from home. You know what I mean? Him and pretty much the entire team. So
Hmm.
compared, like on the other hand, the M&A team, they are pretty much in the office from Mondays through Fridays. So I guess it varies depending of which culture you're working for, you know what I mean, or which group you're working for to be precise. But
Got it.
it would be amazing if you were able to work from home pretty much every day. You know what I mean? There,
Yeah.
there is nothing better than that, working remotely and pretty much traveling and getting paid, getting to know the world. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing, but I guess
Yeah.
it's really hard to find, that kind of flexibility in investment banking, to be honest.
Got it. I
Mhm.
thought, have you
Yeah.
thought about getting into investment banking?
Uh, I was thinking of getting into a tech role in investment banking. So when most people think about investment banking, they picture traders yelling on the floor, analysts crunching numbers late at night. But I think behind the scenes, there's a tech team also, like trying to work, execute transactions, like data scientists and analysts, turning raw data into insights. So those kind of roles is what I was trying to get into. So not specifically investment banking, but I just want to know from Cesar, like, what would be the career progression in investment banking for the people who are sticking through would look like? Like instead of leaving in 2 years, you said some people would like stay in that role for like many years. So what would the career progression would be like?
Yeah, I mean, it honestly varies from person to person. I would say for the most part, what what most investment bankers want to do is they want to work there for 2 years. Then after 2 years, they want to move into private equity as an associate, and from private equity, either stay in private equity or like open their own startups and become entrepreneurs in the future to have more like a work-life balance, if that makes sense. But with that being said, there's people that honestly love the industry so much and they just want to remain there for years until they become managing directors. Because a managing director can also make millions. It also
Hmm.
depends in which bank you work for, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But the truth is that can you know what I mean, deal with the fact that you're going to be working 80 plus hours for at least 4 years,
So if you
a
if you're in
week?
that position, are you still working these long hours?
That's a good question. The higher you know, the higher position you get in investment banking, the less, I guess, hours you work, but the more liability you have as well, and more,
Mhm.
I guess, like the tasks that you're doing, that you are pretty much doing on a daily basis, are more. They have more importance, they make more sense, as of like instead of just, building financial models for like no reason, you know what I mean? Because when you are a junior analyst, and this is something I've heard from plenty of analysts in multiple banks, they told me that sometimes they just do plenty of financial modeling and they don't even know what the purpose of what they're doing is. You know what I mean? And as you
Mm.
become more senior, you start dealing with clients and understanding why is it that you're doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, good question. I would say personally, I I don't know yet. I feel like I'm gonna have reality check when I go to North
Oh man,
Carolina, and
good
I'm gonna
luck,
be like,
dude.
hey, can I handle these heavy hours? You know what I mean? Is this what I want for me in the future? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I guess it remains to be seen, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I
It's gonna
cannot
be an
tell the
internship,
future.
right? It's
It's
gonna
gonna
be
be
an
an
internship.
internship.
Okay.
Yes.
And then if they offer you full time, you're gonna have to live in North Carolina.
Perhaps if they offer me a full-time offer in North Carolina or New York, we'll see. We'll see where life takes me, honestly. I am
Oh,
a I'm a really I'm a really adventurous person. So I
okay.
love adventures, you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens.
For sure, for sure.
But yeah. So honestly, aside from that, I guess that covers the big picture of investment banking.
Yeah.
Best practices, once again, building a good resume, networking with as much people as possible so you can learn their experiences, understand the industry better. There is also behavioral and technical questions people should know, I guess, to understand how to better answer these questions, or like what to be prepared for.
Mm.
If you guys like, we can dive into them. Do we still have time though? I just want to check.
We're at 18 minutes.
Or 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Got it.
If you want to, I mean,
It's
I
it's
have no, I
it's
have no
okay.
issue if you want to get into it. But this kind of feels like a Q&A where
Uh-huh.
like, because I don't really give a shit about investment banking. Well, like, I know you guys want to talk.
Are we gonna keep this in the in the
I really
video?
I could care less. If you guys want to, I don't really mind. But
I think we should keep it.
just keep it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, like yeah, if you
Uh
guys want to get into it, let's get into it. And or if you
I
guys
don't
want
think
to end it
Professor
right
Kim is gonna
now,
be able to post this in YouTube anymore, man.
that's fine, man. It's not like they're monetized or anything, but they're not making money off of it.
All right, so I guess behavioral questions, the most important one is the tell me about yourself. And I honestly have to put so much emphasis in this question, because this question, the way you answer this question is gonna determine if your interviewers are gonna resonate with you and be nice moving forward, or perhaps, just grill you the entire time if you come across a really arrogant person. You know what I mean? In my
So
case,
if you
yeah.
try to show
Mhm.
off and be like, hey, I know about this and I know about that, then they're gonna start, questioning you and seeing if you actually do know about them, right?
Yes, and I know this
Yeah.
because I used to have a different tell me about yourself story, and I transitioned to something that would come across more like humble and like more inspiring for people as well. You know what I mean?
Um,
As you can hear when I talk, I have an accent. I have a heavy accent. I'm from
yeah.
Peru. I was born and raised there. You know what I mean? I've
Fresh
been
off the boat.
living in the US for only 10 years. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I had to use some of my tools to like pretty much inspire whoever was interviewing me, and for them to be nice, and it works. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I would say use your tools as much as you have, as much as you can. You know what I mean? So
Pays off to be an immigrant, huh?
what was that?
It pays off to be an immigrant.
It pays off to be an
Yeah.
immigrant. Yes, they have a heavy accent. That's
Got
hilarious.
it.
Yeah. Aside from
Perfect.
that, I mean, there is other behavioral questions like what are your biggest strengths, what are your biggest weaknesses, you know what I mean, like things that are pretty much common in every industry. And the best way of answering these questions is by using the START method. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. So the START method stands for situation, task, action, and result. So you explain what the situation was, what did you do, what task you did, what was the result afterwards. So that pretty much covers pretty much the way of answering this question properly.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, do you guys?
How do
Mhm.
people with no investment background answer the technical questions when they go to interview? Because they do care about if you know like about ratios and stuff, right? Or is that or
Yes.
do they like teach that
Yeah.
afterwards?
Yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, that's a good question. You need to know your technicals really, really like badly. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, for example, as far as technical questions, now that you bring them up, you need to understand your accounting principles. You know what I mean? That's given. Um, as far as accounting questions themselves, you need to understand what's the difference between an income statement, that balance sheet, the cash flow statement. You know what I mean? Conceptually, what they are, what they do. You need to be able to walk your interviewer through an income statement from the top line to the bottom. You know what I mean? Like point by point. You need to be able to identify the connections between the three financial statements, which are plenty: depreciation, net income, working capital. You know what I mean? How do they connect with each other? You know what I mean? I guess simply I can explain some of them. Depreciation within the income statement, uh, it's also identified in the balance sheet as property, plant, and equipment reduces, you know what I mean, loses its value over time. And it also is a non-cash expense that it's added back within the operating cash flows in the cash flow statement. Net income, on the other hand, is the bottom line of the income statement. It flows as retained earnings or into the retained earnings section in the balance sheet, and it's also the top line of the cash flow statement. You know what I mean? And just like that, there's multiple connections that you need to understand, you know what I mean? And like pretty much communicate to your interviewer. One of the common questions is also walk me through what would happen through the three financial statements if depreciation went up by $10, for example. And the best way of answering this question is by starting in your income statement, moving into the cash flow statement, and identifying, what happens in the balance sheet and how you identify the balance. And if you like, I can just give you the answer right
No,
now.
no,
So
it's okay. Oh yeah, give the answers. Yeah, I thought you were gonna like go through it.
yeah, yeah, of course.
Okay.
So the answer of that is pretty simple. If depreciation goes up by $10, that brings within the income statement your pre-tax income down by $10. Then you have to account for tax expenses. You know what I mean? And let's assume a 20% tax rate. A 20% tax rate of $10 is a positive two. So negative 10 plus two brings us to negative eight as net income, the bottom line of the income statement. That flows into retained earnings as negative eight, and it also goes on top of the cash flow statement uh, as negative eight. Then within the cash flow statement, you account for a non-cash expense. You have to add them back, and negative eight plus $10 of depreciation gives you a positive two. This positive two remains throughout the entire cash flow statement as there aren't any investing or financing activities that are changing in this scenario. And those $2 of net change in cash flow into the balance sheet as positive two within the asset section. And then you account for property, plant, and equipment decrease of negative $10 from depreciation, which is plus two, negative 10, you get negative eight. And that negative eight in the asset section balances with the negative eight in the retained earnings that you pretty much merged when you were moving from the income statement to the cash flow statement as well. So
Bro, you lost me like 10 minutes ago.
yeah, I'm sorry, man. It's really complex, but I guess the accent makes it complicated. Yeah.
I think we got an idea.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. It's really easy when you write it down in a piece of paper and you're navigating your interviewer, through what you're doing. But I guess
Yeah,
that not you don't really have the chance of doing so every time, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, valuation methodologies also are really important, like understanding the most common ones, which are trading comparables, precedent transactions, and the most popular one, well, not popular one, but the most complex one, is discounted cash flow methodology, you know what I mean? Which seeks to identify the intrinsic value of a company by forecasting its future free cash flows, you know what I mean? And then discounting that back into the present. So, yes, yes, I guess that covers some of the most important things we need to
Nice.
know to break into investment banking. I feel like we've talked for a long time, so we're
Yeah,
just
we're
gonna
we're at, we're at 25
Yeah.
minutes.
yes, we're just gonna leave it like that and maybe create a chapter two.
No, no, I'm good, man. Good luck.
Yeah, this is good.
Have fun. I'll see you in the future.
Peace
All
out.
I'm
right.
good on my end. I mean, I've asked enough questions. I got a good understanding of what investment banking is. Gave some input. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to add?
Uh, Marwan asked like how the other people who are not in like finance get into the IB field. I would say in university also, like I myself, I'm not a finance major, so I did take accounting classes. So all the balance sheet, cash flow statement, and all how the financial statement analysis works. So those stuff it's covered under basic financial and accounting courses we take in universities. So it does help. But yeah,
Mm,
obviously the DCF and the valuation part, that's something you gotta like go into depth by your own.
mm,
So yeah, that's my thought on that.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Great,
All
great.
right, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
All right,
Well,
guys.
I'm gonna stick to real estate, but good luck to you guys and have fun. Have fun. Enjoy your Excel sheets and we'll see.
You're not selling investment banking at all, Marwan.
I don't know, man. But
And
yeah,
we're also
it's
using
interesting.
Excel sheets.
Excel sheets, PowerPoints, man. I think
Yeah.
you guys have fun with that. But yeah, that's pretty much it on my end.
All right, guys. Well, it's
Okay.
been a pleasure talking. This has been really insightful. Hopefully,
Yeah.
whoever is listening to this or watching this had a good time
Yeah.
with us or made fun of my accent, whatever worked. I don't care.
Yeah.
Uh, all right,
Learn something
guys.
about investment banking.
Exactly. Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. Well,
We're gonna
great
wrap it up.
podcast, guys. I think that's pretty much it on our end. And good luck to you guys in the future.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
guys.
All
much.
right.
Wait, let me
Stop